I'm Traci Burton, owner of Crimson Beauty Salon. I am a wig maker, cosmetologist, and trichologist. Private Label has me in the studio, and today we're going to be making a custom wig unit for you guys using our Spanish wave hair. And we have this hair in 3 different lengths. So we have 22 inches for the whole unit. And so we're going to be undoing that. Before we get started, just to kind of lay some ground rules and things you'll need, we will need a wig cap. This is my preferred wig cap, especially if we're going to be doing a U part or V part unit, because it's elastic and it's more so form fitting to the head. So we'll be using this one. My favorite one is 5011. It's the mesh cap. There are other caps that you can use. They have this one, and I typically get all of my wig caps from Amazon. So you can use something like this because it's a little bit thinner. Or if you have a client or yourself and you like something that's more breathable that you want to touch your scalp, you can use the one that has the plastic, but you do take the plastic out. Rip me out the plastic, right? So that's another option. We also will need, in order to make this unit, your canvas blockhead. Meet Jenny. She's Jenny from the block. We also will need a seam ripper, a nail for your sewing machine in case it breaks. Things have happened before. Some people will need a chalk or pen or something like that to make outlines. I typically don't, just because I've been doing it for a while. But those are some of the things you'll need. You'll also need your push pins as well as some needles and thread just to have on hand. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We want to first go ahead and also, like I said, thank Private Label for inviting us out. I have been making units for you guys for some time now, so I feel like y'all know me. But I have on my Memphis sweatshirt today, and so I am from Memphis. So any of you Memphians out there, hey y'all, hey. So we're just going to go ahead and open this here. While I'm doing that, I can tell you a quick little bit about me. I am from Memphis, Tennessee. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia back in 2001, and I have been doing hair for some time. I literally came out here to do hair after college, and it didn't quite happen that way. So, you know, life happens. And so for me, I worked in a salon as a shampoo assistant for like 5 years. And then I decided, you know what? I need to probably go to beauty school. So I did that, and I went to Empire Beauty School, which I had a good time there, and graduated from there. And from there, I went right into owning my own salon. So I have a salon suite located in Edgewood off of Moreland Avenue. I am taking new clients, by the way. So I do a couple of different things. Like I said, I'm a trichologist, and a trichologist is basically the study of hair loss. If you're suffering from alopecia or things like that, definitely check me out. I'm also certified to sell medical wig units. So if you are a cancer survivor or alopecia survivor, but you need a unit, come to me. I am your girl. So we're going to get this hair all on here today, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So first we want to get rid of the cardboard. Some people save that for later. You can do different things with it. I know when pandemic was out, I used it as a pattern to make masks. So yes, I use my sewing machine outside of wigs. So here I just add the cap on the head, and I do kind of use my chalk just to kind of get an idea of how deep I want my part to be. So what you want to basically do when you're getting your cap on, you want to line her up as center as possible with the seams that is already going to be on your mannequin head. Some of them have them and some don't, but you want to make sure you get one with the seams, and it kind of gives you an idea of how to get that centered. Okay, and so there's a seam here in the middle, and you can see that that is the top of the head, or apex for those of you who are savvy. But you want to just try to draw a little line there, and usually for your U parts you can just draw a connecting line. And I try to make that as skinny as possible, because when you cut it, it's going to open up, right? So the first thing I do when I'm making a U-part wig is I draw my lines, and my dots because I want this to kind of be a little deep part. And so essentially, if you think about it as your head, your part will go back here. Usually the girlies like to have their part pretty deep. So we start out with, because it's not a closure, we're going to start out by adding this to this part first. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to remove her from here. The sewing machine that I'm using today is your Sewist 500 by Janome. And I've had my machine for some time. So they do come out with new machines all the time. And so you want to just make sure you get the machine that's best for you. I particularly like this machine because for me, it has this little extra feature where it lifts up higher, usually like when you're doing like super curly hair, things like that, and it kind of can get stuck under there. That's a good little feature to have on my sewing machine. And so I typically also use the zigzag pattern on my stitching. And for me, my stitching is at alphabet C. Every time you stitch, I'm looking for my foot pedal while I keep looking down. But every time you stitch, you want to always make sure you back stitch. And you want to make sure that you are just guiding your hair on top of the material being the dome cap. You don't want to pull it and you do not want to push it. Otherwise, if you do that, it's going to cause ripples and you don't want ripples in your unit. So for me, I just heard where it sounded like nothing was in there. I double checked and it's not. So my needle came undone. So what we're going to do is stop that action, and looks like it got a little knot on us. So we'll cut that off and rethread our sewing machine. So everybody's sewing machine is different, but if you know how to thread it and yours did the same thing, go ahead and rethread it. If you are making units with us today, go ahead and drop your emojis in the chat box. I can hardly see you guys, so I put my glasses on when I need them. So this little hole is so small. You want to go make sure you get that. And I try my best not to lick my fingers because that is not sanitary. But if you have some water or something like that, by all means, go right ahead. But you don't want to lick it, you guys. This unit is going to go on somebody's head and they don't want your spit. So if I know I don't want it, I'm not going to give it to my client. Simple. So I'm going to cut that one off. And then we got it laced there. And so we're going to go ahead and continue. So we are approaching holidays. Just wanted to check out with you guys and seeing how everybody's holidays going. Have you gone shopping? Are you shopping? All of the things, right? I'm an online girl myself. I do not want to be in the crowd. So I have just put the needle down into my fabric and the actual, the hair. And what I'm going to do is pivot so I can make sure that I get a nice little round section here for my U part. And I'm going to give it a go just so it can give me that one across. And then I'm going to lift it back up. Or go back down in there, lift it back up, and then I'm going to reposition her down. And so that's how I get my U. And I make sure that it's right there on or very close to my little drawed chalk line. And back stitch. And so there you have it. We have just completed the first step in making our U-part unit. We cut our thread off and then we're just gonna clip that away and making sure that this one started at the beginning as well. And so there, let's make sure She's nice and flush. There's a little string there from when I lifted it up. So there you can see we have a nice U in that area. Just want to make sure that she does not have any lifting, and she doesn't. We can go ahead and cut these strings off, and we'll end up doing it at the end, but you just kind of want to make sure that it's all done. And here's the ultimate test. We're going to put it on the cap, or actually, I'm sorry, we're going to cut these strings off. We're going to put this on the wig canvas block. Miss Jenny over here. And make sure she's nice and flush. So there she is. And then she has a little thread. And so we cut that. So now basically all we're going to do is fill her in. So if you wanted to go ahead, this would be served, I guess, if you would say, as your closure piece. But if you wanted to take it off and turn it around for you guys. If you wanted to do lines to give yourself a pattern, a good measuring tool would be your center, where this forms back into a V, is that you can kind of make your lines here. And like I said, I typically don't use the lines, primarily because I've done this for so long, I always go over them anyway. But it ends up still being nice and neat. Uh-oh. Didn't want to draw for me. And so you would do basically the same thing on the other side. And this is just a quick way that you can make sure that you are getting all of your hair in. But when you have like three bundles, sometimes it may take a little bit more and you have to do some stuffing. So it just depends. And then when you get up here, you almost have to change the shape of how you're getting it in. But you want to just get those bundles in as much as possible. But there's an idea as to how you can try and follow a map if you're wanting to do that. So we do still have plenty of hair left, so you want to still continue with this hair and go all the way around until you reach the top. And so this is going to be pretty much, you know, the same thing that we're going to be doing over and over again. So if you have music and that's how you vibe out, feel free to do so. That's how I do myself, but I know we're going to be putting this on YouTube and things like that, so we don't want to get monetized. We'll add music later for you guys. Always want to backstitch. And I don't do that very bottom of the elastic. I used to, but I don't. I mean, I make it to connect to the end. But when you do that, sometimes it's too tight for the client, and so that's why I stopped. And you want to backstitch each time. Also, just another quick reminder, as you're going around your unit, as you get closer to the ears, you want to make sure that you're going up as the curve of the head. I don't know if I said that, but just to kind of reiterate, you do want to make sure it's realistic to a client's head. And so you see, these lines are going in a diagonal, mostly like a diagonal back. So you just keep going. Again, we're here live in the Private Label studio. If you are looking for a hair company, definitely come and check Private Label out. They have everything you need when it comes to hair, everything you need. If you need a blow dryer, which I use in my salon, by the way, I absolutely love my blow dryer. They have curling irons, wax sticks, color sticks, lashes. The list goes on and on. So you just kind of keep going. It goes pretty quick, especially if you've been doing it for a while. And by now, I've kind of been showing you guys. So you guys are becoming professionals too. So you just keep going. This is, again, the Spanish wave, Brazilian in the curly or wave hair, Spanish curly. I can't remember. They all ran together for me, but we'll put it in the description. This is 22 inches. This will make a really good Christmas present too. Some people have parents, siblings, girlfriends, wives that likes a good old custom unit. And this one we can style it and blend it in with your hair, maybe doing some wine curls at the top. Or you could have this textured hair, and that will work too. And if you don't, you can take it to your hairstylist and she can do some trickery to help you blend. When I say trickery, I mean she can maybe do some rod sets or something like that to help with your pattern, to blend to this pattern. Let's see. Depending on your hair length, you can use different rods. They have the orange ones, the peach ones, just depending on how long your hair is, which ones you'll need. But your stylist will know. We're just gonna keep going, you guys. And like I said, as we get closer to the top, we will start making her curve. I like to get them really full down at the bottom because that's where the hair is thicker anyway on just your real hair. And at the top, most people don't have a lot of thick hair right on the top. So you want to kind of make it look as natural as possible. Those are some of the key points that you want to point out, that I wanted to point out when you're making your units. See how I had to lift that up to get that curly hair out? That's, again, why I like this particular sewing machine. Again, it's the Janome Sewist 500. And I got it maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I got it off of Amazon. So I don't know if they still have them, but that's where I got it from. So when you are checking, what you want to make sure is that you're checking to make sure that this is nice and flat, that you don't have any lumps and bumps. So that's why we want to always make sure that you put it back on the mannequin blockhead, your wig cap, so that you can make sure that it is fitting proper. And so again, once we get to the top, we're going to start, this is around where the ear is, we want to start going at an angle. So we're just going to keep going until we get there, and I'll show you what I mean. If anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to ask. There's no wrong or crazy question. I know I'm not able to see your questions, but as soon as I am, I will be able to answer you. Once again, my needle came out. Sometimes this happens if I'm maybe going too fast and it gets a little excited, I guess. And it comes out. I always try to start with a straight little cut. Again, I will not be licking the needle. I am going to lift it up so I can see. Yeah, I tend to go a little faster. I don't know. If you are a beginner, you don't want to go so fast. You want to take your time with it and make sure that you're getting proper stitching. All right. You're just going to keep going. You can almost start going on a little slant. And depending on what type of look you're going for, it will determine if you're wanting to use 3 bundles. Some people may use 4. It really just depends. Depends on you, depends on your client, whoever you're making the unit for. So here's where you can definitely start going ahead. Pop this up for you. Going ahead and try to slant going upward so that when the wind blows, it's going to give you more of that and not straight across. So you want to start slanting now, because now you're about at the ear. But you can also see that it's nice and full in the back, and so you don't want to have it real sparse. So even when you're looking at it from the back, you don't want to have it to be too see-through. So those are some of the things you want to keep in mind when you're making it and how close you're putting your tracks. So once again, we're going to start with a little slant going upward on our unit. And everything else will follow. And so you heard the back stitching. You want to make sure that it's nice and straight. And you want to make sure that it is giving you a little slight curve up. So this is going to be it for our first bundle that we've added. It went almost all the way around with the full one. So this is the only thing we have left here. We'll just set that to the side and we'll come back and still put her back on Jenny from the block. And making sure that she fits. So again, you can see that it's nice and full, coming up to the top or to the middle of the head, right at the occipital bone, which is where the head starts to curve, and we're just going to keep going. So we'll open our next bundle. This hair is very soft, you guys. You will love it. You can wear this hair curly or straight. If you need to color it, you can do that as well. I probably wouldn't color it because this color is just so natural and so pretty. But if you want to add like maybe a few highlights in there, that would be cute. I wouldn't try to go in and just change the whole thing to like a 613 or nothing, because you could lose the integrity of the curl, or it won't be as curly. It'll still curl, but anytime you're using like a chemical on hair, even your own hair, sometimes can, you know, stress the curl out a little bit, and you don't want to do that, especially when you've paid so much for your unit. So if you were to color it, I would probably just do like some highlights, and that would be pretty as well. And that's just my preference. And as you see me cutting different things off, I try to stay on top of the the threads that are in there. I know if after I'm done, I'll be cutting some more threads out, but when I see it, I like to go ahead and get it. I don't know. It's a little OCD. So go ahead and follow from the top one. You're going to still give it a little slant and then start your stitch. You always want to make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. Just then, my hair got off track, and so it was no longer under the needle. So at any point that happens to you, you want to stop and make the adjustment. And then you want to also make sure you're still going up on a slant. I'm going to pull off this way. And so, yes, it may get a little redundant, I guess, of constantly putting the hair back on the mannequin. But you want to, or you would rather do this now than get to the end and you'll see that it's all lumpy and you can't do anything about it but take some tracks down and try to fix it. So there we're just making sure we check our work. That's all we're doing is checking our work. Kind of like when you check a cut on a, if you're a hairstylist, you know what I mean? If you're cutting on a horizontal, you can check your cut by checking it on a vertical. And that's real information. Even if you're not a stylist, that's how you can check your cuts to make sure they're even. So if you're cutting it this way, you want to check it that way and vice versa. And so we check our stitching by putting it back on the mannequin head. Still going up on a slant. Let's see. You cut that out, and again, same thing. And you can see we're pretty much almost halfway through the head. And we have plenty more to go, but it's going to be the same steps. I do enjoy making these. It's kind of that get in the corner and just be busy. This is my idea of my work from home. So I do make wigs outside of making them for you guys. So if you are needing one, definitely reach out. My Instagram is at Crimson Beauty Salon. And my TikTok also is at Crimson Beauty Salon. And I feel like my Facebook is at Crimson Beauty Salon Atlanta, but I don't check that one that much. So Instagram and TikTok is your best way to reach me. And if you have a TikTok, please go follow me. I'm trying to get my followers up. Shameless plug. But for real, go follow me. I like to show people what I've been doing. I just actually got back from Memphis, and then I went to New York. And then I like to go visit different restaurants. I show y'all all the good stuff. All the good stuff. I went and checked out the Jay-Z exhibit, which yesterday was the 4th. That was the last day. So if you didn't check it out, you missed it. It was pretty good. He had the whole Brooklyn Library tied up with all of his work. So that was a really cool exhibit to see. And you guys, we're just gonna keep on going, keep on going. Up here, you can get a little bit more space in because they don't have to be as close, because this is where it kind of will get tight on the head, and that's where you want it to, again, make it look more realistic. And so you want to just kind of keep going. I did it again. I pulled the thread out. I don't know what's happening today. Shout out to y'all if your needle is not giving you problems today, because mine sure is. But I love that for y'all. Mine is just not agreeing. Guess she said she's been gone too long or something. I don't know. Feel like I haven't pulled my machine out in a second, but it's starting to get back busy, so we're back at it. We are climbing our way to the top. And again, you guys, this is where I said you can not be so close to the last track, because you want to give that scalp or your head some space to breathe. Because again, some people who wear units, their hair is braided up under here, and so you want to give them some wiggle room, basically, is what you're doing. If it's too tight, then they're not going to be able to wear it. So you want to make sure it's spaced out enough for them. So this is what we have left. Let's just see where we are here. So it definitely is coming along nicely. We have this much left. I don't think we'll get it in, but let me see, because I kind of, it's a little slanted, so I can fix that by coming in right about there to even that slant out. That's what I'm gonna do. So you can make your own rules really as you go, just as long as it looks good when you're finished. This has a little tail on it from the manufacturer, so we're gonna cut that off. And I just wanna make sure I even up my little slant. I'll show you. I'm not drunk, you guys, I promise. But I was sewing on a little slant here, and so you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it has like, it's going down, and that can happen because I'm not perfect, but you want to be as perfect as possible. And so I'm going to fix that by taking where it was level and where it went to the slant and making it even. So those are some behind the scenes, if you will. So we're going to fix that. It's only because I'm on camera. Usually, you know how when you tell somebody how to do something and then it doesn't do it only because you're now showing it? Or like when you go to the doctor, you've been sick and then you get there and you're no longer feeling those symptoms? That's what's happening. I told y'all, I don't use chalk lines because I've been doing it so long. So now it's all showing out on me. But whatever, we'll get through it. And back stitch. Let's just see if that fixed the problem. And voila, it sure did. We are cooking with grease. We have one more bundle, and I think we'll make it. And also, I'm probably going to come back in here and just try to stitch that a little flatter. You don't have to, but like I said, I have a little OCD sometimes. And so I want that to lay down like that, especially before cutting out the center. So you can, if you like, if yours popped up like that as well. Again, this is that Spanish wavy or Spanish curly hair. Brazilian, the curls are very pretty. I just run my fingers through just so when I do unwind it, that it doesn't get super tangled on me or anything. But you see this hair has no tangling, so that's a very, very good sign. Some people bring hair to me to do their sew-ins, and it's usually, I get all types of hair. And I'm like, why didn't you go to Private Label? So I'm going to cut this little doohickey off here again. That's just how it came off the sewing machine and the manufacturing of it all. But we'll start here with our little slants. And backstitch. And we're just gonna keep on going. Get that out from under there. And you want to make sure you cut that off. So it looks like some hair was trying to get entangled with the other piece over there. So we got that loose. I'm just looking at it to kind of make sure we have the same amount here on both sides. We pretty much do. Okay, and I see where my thread went under my track. And so for me, like I said, I am a little bit picky about stuff. So I'm gonna go back in and just make sure that this track is laying flush on the cap. You don't have to do that, but that's just one of the things that I do. If you see something that's a little off, you wanna make sure you fix it at that time, because the worst thing you could have is a client to call you back and you got to go back and fix it. So just kind of do it whenever you see it. And so because I caught that, then that client won't feel that extra piece of track just lifted up like that. So we'll go back and make sure that it's to my liking. And now it is. Very pleased with that. Okay, so we have plenty of hair left, and we're gonna just keep going until we get to the top. If you are looking to do something like this, we use 3 bundles, and I feel like we'll definitely get through this with this 3. If you're wanting to use more hair to make it a little bit more fuller, you can by all means do that as well. But what you're going to want to do is make sure that your tracks are basically almost extremely close together. And you may want to have like a smaller head, or maybe even no hair cut, maybe similar to mine may work, but that's not going to work. I guess I take that back, because this is a U part. So when you have a lot of hair, you want to make sure your unit is going to be able to fit over it. Me not having any hair to do a U part, I would have to do something to that top, because it's not going to work. It's going to look crazy. I would definitely need a closure. So I take that back. Or you could have short hair, but maybe just enough to cover your closure area, your leave out. Maybe if you had at least 3 to 4 inches of hair, you could still get away with a wig like this, but you need something to cover the tracks. So I would say at least this much of hair. Maybe 3 inches would be better.
that we're at the top. And we're just going to keep going until we fill it all in. And so here is where it starts, you know, turning into a U on the actual cap. And so you just want to make sure you follow that guideline. And your guideline pretty much is the hair beneath. And like I said, when I see these little strings, I try to cut them as I see them so that you don't have to do so much at the end. All right, looks like we have maybe one more to do. Nice and full. We'll add this track in and just see if we need to add anywhere else, which we shouldn't. I'm going to come right in under it, under the last track. Or actually, you know what? I want to take this off. It can get tricky. Just be patient with putting it on there and folding the other side over so you can get in under the needle. I knocked my needle, my foot off, but we'll get it back on. can do that little pivot thing where you let the needle rest into the fabric and the actual hair. Turn it around, close your needle back, and keep going. In there. Let's see. That's one of the things with curly hair, it likes to drag underneath that little foot there, but we got it out, needless to say. I'm going to cut that little piece off. I'm going to real quickly go back in and stitch this down because I want to. All right. Cut off any excess threading. I will put it on the cap. Back on Jenny over here. And she is done all within an hour. You can now go out to dinner and catch the concert or whatever you're going to do. But you have your hair, so you see when it blows backwards, you don't see like straight lines going across. It'll just kind of blow. You can even leave with these U parts, you can leave like your hair out if you wanted to do something like that. But this is what it looks like in the front. And I'll take this off, and this is what it looks like in the back. So this is 22 inches, and she is nice and full. So when we're done, completely done, we'll just go in and take this U out, and you'll be able to go in and style your hair as normal. That is my time, you guys. Again, my name is Traci. I am with Crimson Beauty Salon. I am the owner. I am a wig maker, trichologist. I do so many things. So check me out. I'm on Instagram at Crimson Beauty Salon. I'm on TikTok at Crimson Beauty Salon. Please go follow me. It has been my pleasure. If you've learned anything, great. Thumbs up to you. Keep trying. Can't stress it enough. Just practice. It's been fun. Thanks so much, Private Label. Bye-bye.